Today, I thought I'd take a moment and kind of show how to modify or easily modify the framework programs or the programs that I release. And I think this will make it easy or easier for those who don't necessarily program, but who want to try and learn. And that's kind of what I gear a lot of my things towards. Things like, C sharp, C++. plus plus. When you start getting into other languages like that, there's a certain syntax and there's a certain way that, the actual syntax plays out as far as cause and effect or data and result. And it's like things like something that's C related or in the C family is much faster and you can do a lot more things with it, but it also has a steeper learning curve, and not everybody necessarily wants to learn that. So, as I started writing things, I thought to myself, well, what would be the simplest thing to do? What would be the easiest thing to do? And I thought, well, the easiest thing to do would be to have just canned functions. Just literally just quote, quote, canned functions that do a specific thing and only do a specific thing and can be portable or can be included in any application. And that's why I came up with the library concept. But also, uh, I had this, there was a time when I was busting out these framework programs that God, there must have been like 20 or 30 of them I busted out in just a matter of like a week or so, week and a half. And, It was all it was all brand new code, and it was just copy and paste, and I actually found bugs or improvements in the code, and when I went in to refactor one, I had to refactor every single one, and that got to be time consuming. It was fun, but it got to be time consuming. Okay, so part of the design philosophy that I had when I wrote this. And I know, and I'll tell you what I think what I, in my opinion, what the pros and cons of it was and why I chose it, why I chose this particular way of doing things. Um, Almost every GUI interface program, something that you would have that would have buttons you click on, things like that. They all capture events, and almost all of them have the exact same events they capture. Some don't always need events like drag and drop. Not every single controller form has drag and drop. Hover's another good example. You know how when you move the mouse over a button or you move it over an image or something, all of a sudden you'll get a little description of what that is. That's like a hover event. So if you hover over something long enough, it'll automatically generate an event. So the Windows kinda keeps it pretty tight. So I thought, "Okay, so every single program is gonna have these events in it. So what if I centralized it? What if I made, an event queue, and these events are captured in at the library level, and then they are put in an event queue that the application can then process?" It is an extra step, and a person might say, "Well, that's a lot of that's not really as tight as what it should be," and that is true. But, the reason I wanted to do it that way is I can actually write the code that initializes a control that, actually creates the control like a button. I can put certain standard things into that control, such as foreground, background colors. I can put all of that in a library, and then I just simply initialize the control, just call one function, and it does everything I would normally do, along with generating events, which sets up the event handler. And then all I have to focus on is the main core. So everything that comes in this queue is what I need to process. That's the main pipeline. Also, if you're running, let's say, an interface program, any type of interface program, and your main thread, which is running, that's whenever when I launch this right here, if I just go to launch this as an example, it'll actually create a main interface thread. This is the main thread. And then in this main thread, it's actually looking for events. So if I was to start something, if you've noticed it before, you'll start something and it locks, you can't do anything. That's because events are not being processed because the actual processing has now sidestepped onto something and it has to wait until that completes before it can get back to its input processing. So I thought, okay, well, we can solve that issue by putting things like that onto threads and keep that whole input cycle going. But if you don't, all those input things are queued up, and then you can just kind of get them in that central core. And another nice thing about the central core is copy and paste. So, like if I want to click on a button, I can copy that code from this program to another program, just that central core function. So it's kind of very transportable across different applications. And I can stack things in it. So if I've got 100 things I want to do, I stack them all. I can literally make a little simple script that says I want to do all these functions. You stack them in that processing queue. And if it takes an hour to do, you just walk off and let it do its thing. It'll keep taking them one at a time. Okay. So, all of that being said, let's go ahead and modify this so that it will extract our mod archive. That's one of the things I said I wanted to do with this. This is a completely dry run. I have not. There's no script, so I have no idea what's gonna happen. But I'll show you how I generally do it, and then if there's a bug or something somewhere, then we'll fix it. Okay, so here's the application back here. So the actual events are captured at the library level, so you don't see it here in the main application. But I will release the libraries. I just haven't had time to do it yet. I need to clean them up, and that way I can make them as bug free as possible before they're cut into the wild. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to drag and drop an item, a drag and drop. We'll fire this up again. I want to drag and drop an archive onto here, and I want it to literally decompress it for me. Whoops, not that. Come on, mouse. I wanna drag and drop it onto here, and I want it to decompress for me. And there are functions for that. There's methods for that. So the first thing I need to do is drag and drop is the events are all that's automatically set up at library level. So if a control is drag and drop and you set it up using the initialized control calls, all that's done for you. All you have to do is handle the event. And the event we're looking for is going to be around the 800s. I think it's 869. So this is where an item is drag and dropped. These are the events. So once you drag and drop something, it needs to determine what that item is. Is it text? Is it a folder? Is it a file? That's what this right here does. So up here, you can see I've got this is just an opcode which says drop file or folder name. So this is the little chunk of code we want to look at. We don't have to worry about the events or how to capture them, framework. I mean, all the libraries do that. Okay, so all we have to do now is figure out where are we going to handle drag and dropping of that archive file. So if we look at the code, we can see, uh, we can kind of take a look here and we can say, does the file exist? So these are for files. Down here, does the folder exist? This is where it tests for a folder. So we're going to want to do our code in here. And I can look at this and kind of see find text. We're looking at an extension, file extension, and this kind of gives me specific things to do with specific file extensions that are dropped onto this application. So what we're going to do is we're going to put another conditional statement because this is where we're gonna want to put it. And I'll show you how we can test this. It's not handled at the moment, but how we can test this is let's put a breakpoint in. Okay, pretty simple. And we're gonna fire it off. We're gonna drag and drop. And it's not handled, so it's not gonna do anything. So we'll drop it, and you can see right here, this is where it hits. So this is the section of code. So I want to put something in here somewhere. So let's go ahead and just exit out. Okay, so let's put another conditional statement in. In fact, let's make it first. We want to make sure it's one of the first things that it does. Okay, so I want to I want to determine if the file extension is something I want to decompress. So is it a 7Z? Is it a zip file? That's kind of like what I want to look at. So what we're gonna do, okay, they changed this. They changed um, this entire IDE, and it's got a mind of its own. They've really messed it up. I'm surprised they're really having this many updates trying to fix it. Okay, so we want to. This is a library call, and what I'm looking for, and what it does, it allows me to localize. So if you specify something, it'll localize it for you. So that means you can look up in the locals file a set of file extensions without having to keep typing them in. So I want to take a look at, I believe file extension is what it has. And all we need to know is which file extensions that we want to look at. So I'm going to go over to here. We're going to go to the utilities library and let's take a look up like 7Z. Okay, so let's see. We got zip 7Z. This is what we want. This is the little text file local. This is the locals file where you put all of the compression extensions that you want to decompress. And we can see that it's extension 20. That's what we want. So we'll just take that and we'll put that in here. And if you were to look at more parameters, you'll see where there is a dictionary. And that's important because if certain localization, uh, you can call them identifiers or keywords. If they are specific to, let's say, the games library, then you have to specify the games library, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so we've done this. Now, the next thing we need to do is so now that we've isolated it, and we can double check it here. So we'll just put like a little stop in here. Okay, we'll fire this off. And let's see if we caught it. We may not have, but let's see if we caught it. Okay, good. See, so we caught it. So this is actually what we're looking for. So this is where we need to do the decompression. There's quite a few there's more than there's more than one decompression method in different libraries, but the one I think we're going to look at is the one in the games library. And the class is called game info. That's where the library begins it. And a class literally lets you just break down a bunch of methods. It lets you group different methods. It's a way to group it. So they're all in the same assembly. It's just they're grouped by different references. Okay, so I think what we're looking for is unzip. I believe it's is it unzip? Okay, it's not that one. Is it in here? There we go. Okay, so it's in this is the utilities library, and that's the exe class. So we want to unzip the archive and we need to see exactly what we're looking at. So let's just get any kind of parameter going here, something that's going to tell me what the syntax is. So there's our syntax. So we have an archive file and a target folder. Okay, so this will unzip to, it'll let us specify the folder, which is what I want to do. And here you can see there's other parameters we're not really going to use. But if you notice where it's got unzip program, zip 00, and the parameters, I think that's zip 003. And utilities is what it defaults to. So in utilities over here, there should be a zip. There should be like a zip. We'll call it zip O maybe. And then this is where the definition is. That's the program. You can see where it can find the program. And 003, that's the extraction parameters we're using. That's where it gets, that's where it takes the program name and the parameters. And you can set this up however you want. This is just how I have it set up because I use 7Z. Okay, so we want the archive name. That's what we just dropped. And we're gonna and that's the first parameter. I know this can kind of look confusing, but basically, whenever a function code is called, it will take that function code and it parses it out. It'll actually parse it out into an array, a list of items, and that way you can directly access those item lists. So it took the file name that was dropped, and that is the first parameter. That's why a lot of times you will see up here, you will literally see a little definition that says parameters for this particular one is the file name and or the folder name. It's one of the two. So we know the very first parameter is the the file or the folder name. Okay. Now comes the part where I want to decide where I want to extract this. And there's many different things I can do. I can specify a specific location. I can go over here into this file and I can I usually group them by like a prefix code. I can put a folder definition over here so we can have a little bitty kind of a key, like a keyword, and I can put a folder, that's what these are, and then I can simply type in that folder up here if I want. But we're actually gonna use, the definition in the game's configuration file. So that way it kinda sticks with how you have it, how it's configured. That's over that'll be over in here. So, let's pull this up. That will be over here. You can actually see, well, not that one. Let's see, games config. Oh gosh, I haven't woke up yet. Okay. So you can see over here we got downloads folder. What we're looking for is this. That's what we're looking for, is the mods folder. That's where we want to store our mods, our decompressed mods. And that is parsed out into a field called managed. So, because it's considered that's what you manage. That's what's managed by the application. You can put many different folders, but that one is managed. So that means when you decompress something, that's where it normally goes. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to do we're going to combine the managed, so it's stored in the current game information. So whenever it opens a game, this is where it stores the current information about that game. And what we want is the managed available folder. That's whatever we have defined. And then we want to add to that because that's just a folder name. That's not the file name. I just want the file name without the extension because we're going to provide our own extension. So I think what we'll do is we'll put it as um yeah, because no, that I am incorrect. That is the folder. So what we want to do is we want to make the folder name unique. So that is managed available. We don't want to decompress it to there. So we want to create the actual folder name where this is going to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a path get file name without extension. So that way, yeah, I'll show you what this does in a second. And we're going to put that is the file name coming in that parameter slot. And therefore, we don't need that. Let's get that out. Well, yes, we do. I just saw it. Okay. All right. And that unzips it. So it really needs two parameters, the file to unzip and the folder to unzip it too. And if you look over here, this is called something 00 Zazay's horses. This is what Boro Zazay. This is what I got to this is what I'm gonna test with. This actually it actually has output. We can see it if you wanna kinda take a look. This has output and it actually gives a process infrastructure to show that, to literally show that, whether or not it extracted the file. Now this is not creating a thread. Uh, what I may wanna do is create a thread, which way it stands on its own. So, let's go ahead and do that. I'm not sure where to create it at just yet because we wanna give it a case statement, so we have to figure out where we want to put this. And I think we can probably put it I think there's a game function or something. Game. Okay. This is the only one that's here. User tool, I think that's part of the menu. Okay, yeah, that's the only one there. Okay, so want to make sure we kind of get this organized in a good place here. So let's see how far down we go. Let's do an end. All right, and back up from here, we can see what our last one is. Okay, so we're in the 900s. There's 900s. We want to keep looking for a nice place to put this. And I think, I forget what I have it in. I think I got like in 5,000 and something. I think in the main application, it's like 55812. Or we can use the same one. So we're going to want to do that. Show a text file. So this is where all the events are handled. Scripting functions. Do I have a mod functions? There's menu. Let's see what's after menu. Okay. All right. So we'll put it here. We'll put this in later, but we'll stick it right here. And we'll call it, I will just call it 5813 is what we'll call it. I think that's what the other one is. Okay. So that's what we're going to call it. Now let's go up to our Let's go up here to our drop item. We gotta go up here. And I wanna grab this because what this will do is it'll catch the event and then it decompresses it. And if you have really, really, really large files, then it'll lock everything up because it's waiting for those files to be decompressed before you'll get control back of the interface. And we don't want that. Okay, so we're gonna do exactly what this thing here does. So we're gonna forward the opcode to 5813. So let's put 13. And then what do we want to forward to it? We're gonna forward the actual function code. So the syntax is this, and that's it. Let's go ahead and make this look a little bit more easily readable. I know I format my code different than everyone else does, but for me, it's much easier to read. I can lens focus specifically I wanna look at without having to parse a line in my mind. Okay, so we're gonna forward this to 5813. So then we wanna pop down to 5813 because this is going to get it, and this is where we're gonna put that. So far, it's still gonna do the same thing because it's going to be captured up in the drag drop, then it's gonna come down here and we're still gonna hang up. So what we need to do is we need to create we need to run this in the background. So we're going to run this as a worker. Let's borrow this. I'm gonna show you what I meant by copy and paste. Remember, callback when it calls back, it does something. If the worker isn't running, let's go ahead and run it. We got an animation, define the thread, run the thread, we're good. We're gonna copy and paste. I went ahead, no, you could actually put name of like this. You can put this down here where it says worker name, but I thought it looked cleaner. So it is an extra step, but I think it really cleans it up a little bit, especially when you're trying to look at the code. So we're gonna grab this. We're gonna grab this whole block, and we're gonna go up here. Okay. So there's the worker name. The worker name is going to be different. So we're gonna call this. This is where you give it the name of what you want to call it. So we can call it unzip And the reason you wanna give it a unique name, you don't really need this. You don't really have to do this part. You can leave this out and you can just call it down here. But the reason I do this is because one of the new things I added was to the I added the code to inform to provide a pathway back to the caller, the calling function, to tell it where it's at in the process. And I do that with the progress, what I call the progress. So this is the progress name, and every progress is usually unique because it's keeping track of different threads. So you want to give it a unique name, and that's what this is. And normally I'll put the file name after this, but we'll just leave it like this for now, and I'll clean it up later. So we'll just give it that, and then from that point forward, everything that's worker name is going to be fine. This is where we want to. This is where we need to handle. We're going to take this out because remember we copy and pasted. And this is where we want to actually take a look at the file. I mean the folder. We're going to make sure the folder generated okay, and then we can handle it. We can send it to the FOMOD routine. Cool. Yeah, you can definitely tell I haven't woke up this morning. Okay, so very simple working animation is fine. Command thread. We're going to change the name of this, and of course, there's our start worker. So this is going to be the worker that we're going to start. And I don't really care about the output of it. So we can simply go up here and we can do this right here. And let's get this so you can more easily see it. And the first time you do it, it's kind of it seems kind of like complicated, or some people like the term convoluted. But once you get used to it, it really is nothing more than just copy or paste because everything is kind of already done. And all right, we want to take this and move this over here so that way you can literally see what's going on. It makes it much, much easier to see. It still does the exact same thing. I don't care about I don't care about capturing the the output of this. So we're just going to ignore that. Let's go up here and bring this in one. That way it looks nice and tidy. Okay, so and what do we want to call the thread? We want to call it extract thread. You can leave command thread. You can call it anything you want. I'll just call it extract thread. How about that? Oops, no, we're fine. I thought we had to adjust that. We're fine. Okay, so now we're going to start the extract thread. Okay, and this is where I was talking about earlier about an auto callback. If you specify a function info structure when you start a new worker. When that worker completes, that's in the utilities library. When that worker completes, if you provided a function info, let me double check our time here. If you provided a function info, then it is going to automatically call this function back and it's going to set this flag for you. So here, what we want to do is we want to make sure the folder exists, but we're going to assume at this point it does. So we'll just put a stop in here because I don't want to really make this video too awful long, but I just want to show how to interface with it. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to work. This is cold right off the bat. Everything looks fine, except that doesn't look good. We don't want that there. Everything looks fine. So let's go ahead and drag and drop. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a stop in here. Okay. So let's go ahead and fire this off. This way we don't have to worry about events or anything. Let's drag and drop. And you can see that it forwarded the drag and drop function to the operation code. We're here. We're good. Now we're going to do a trace just to make sure I did this correctly. So I'm going to stop it here. Okay, we're going to stop it right there. And we're going to follow this call through. So let's go in and follow the call. Now, this is the utility library. I will release the source code with this when I get it cleaned up. There's functions in here that are years old, and I haven't even revisited. I have not had the time, but I am slowly chipping away at it. But what I want to make sure is I want to make sure that the folder name is correct. So we want to take a look at that. If not, I'll need to fix that. And I don't want to spend a lot of time. Uh, let's see. Are we in the working? Start new worker. Okay, we've already done that. We haven't done that yet. Okay, that's probably the first thing that gets called. So let's take a look since we're here. We want to do unzip. So let's do an in unzip archive. That's where we'll stop it. It's a pretty big file. All right, so here's where we pass the archive and folder name. So I want to put a stop right here because I want to make sure that I want to see what the folder name is before it extracts to it. You can see we're already here when I hit continue. Okay, so it looks like that the archive we want to extract is there, and it looks like it's extracting the target folder. It's actually going into my mods, which I do not want to do because it's already there. Um, okay. So we don't want to do that. So let me think here a moment. Because technically that should go, it should have used the local. Oh, I know why. I tell you exactly why. Because it is using this is using my game config. I forgot. This is not the same folder that I released because I have to change some of the variables so other people can set it. Okay, perfectly fine. So let's go back over to here and where it calls it, and let's put it on the desktop. Let's do that. I think that would probably we'll just stick it on the desktop somewhere. So we'll put an absolute value here. All I need to do is know where my desktop is. So let's get this. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. But you do want this in here. I'll put this back in or when I recompile it because this will work for the game configuration found here, which is in the release package, because it is different than mine. But to test it, this is my actual, this is where my source code exists, where I can recompile and do a bunch of testing, and it needs to use my data. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to put this. Let's get this out. And we need to put try that. There. And we need to put this. It's gonna be big. All right, we don't need this. What I want is the actual folder name. So we want to put it to the desktop. But now that I think about it, let's back this back out. And I want to put that here. I did not put that in the right place. Was not thinking. Okay. So now we have it. The folder we want to unzip to that's the folder we want to unzip to is the desktop combined with the file name. Okay, that looks good. No errors. So let's go ahead and try this again. Now this makes it an absolute location. So I like it better when it's in a configuration file. That way I can change it anytime. Okay, so is that better? All right, so the archive file is on the desktop. That's correct. And the folder is called Zzaze. Okay, so let's stop this we'll put a stop here at the end to make sure that everything unzipped okay. Let's see. Over here, if you take a look, there's your folder. Whoops, where'd it go? Where did she go? Did I try to drop this somewhere? Where did I? Where did I drop, man? Ah, okay, where did you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it's probably. Oh, I know what it is. It is still in use. I believe it might still be in use, but don't quote me on that. So let's go ahead and finish that up. There we go. She is not in use anymore. So this is our extracted folder. See? So everything extracted. And that's all it takes. It seemed convoluted because it seems difficult is a better term. And you can see the callback. You can see where once it got done, it called this function back. And we're right back in the same function. And this is where we're going to make sure the folder exists. And if it does, we want to pass it to the FOMOD. So I don't know what it is right off the bat. I have to take a look at the code, but I think it wants to call, I think it calls initialize. I think this is I think it's initial something. Let's see. All right, well, we'll take a look. It's initial startup. Okay. That is what I think I want to call because that's where it has to check everything. All right, so we're going to go back to our call stack. Let's go back over to here. And then let's do an initial startup. And I believe we need to set the folder name because we've changed the folder name. So our folder name is going to be what we did here. So let me grab this right here. And we want to set folder name or folder. I believe it's folder equals. I have to take a look at the code. And we got some wild looking code coming up. Let's get all this back in here. Let's make this kind of a little more readable. Let's get this closer. Okay. And I am going to go back and make this to where it's set up with the actual configuration file or release. So that way you won't have to, it won't be an absolute location. You can go in and change it if you want. And I do need to capture this folder name because what I should have done down in the one routine is I should have changed the parameter to the actual folder itself. I could do that. I could actually go down into here. Let's do, I think it was, uh, what did we call it here? We called it, oh, we didn't, we used it here. Yeah, so we'll have to do it. That's right. If I created another like application specific code and I created that as a worker, I could actually capture it down in there. That's the reason I do two different things. But this is exactly how you see it. I could put it in this actually. Before I fire it off, I could literally go over here and change. I could literally say the folder itself. I could literally put the folder name. So we could use let's see what we have. Whoops. FIFO. So we have data folder. So I could actually put it here. I could actually put this, I could set this variable to this, use that variable here, and then that way it's part of this already. And then when it does the callback, this goes with it. So I can do it that way. And that's how I'll set it up. You'll see it in the new code. But I wanted to show you kind of how this would work. So let's make sure that the folder name changes. So let's launch this off. Let's make sure our folder name changes. And it is a global name. So we want to take a look at folder. There's the Zays. So let's see what happens. I guess. Oh, you know what? It built it. I was not paying any attention. It was going to build it, but it didn't have the options. Okay. Uh, let's see if that was it. All right. So we need not that one. We need this one. Yeah, see, there we go. We want to take this out. All right, let's take this out. Well, not that. Where's our semicolon? The semicolon. Let's take that out, that out, that out. Let's take that out. All right, let's try this again. So, I'm thinking, okay, she just decided to go South Park. Okay, let's delete that and let's drag and drop. Okay. We don't want this. Let's exit out. Okay. Then we want to do, there's our folder over here. And then let's see if this does its thing. There you go. So that's pretty much all there is to it. I'll clean this up. This is pretty dirty right now, so I'm going to clean this up and make it so that it's more extensible, and that'll be in what I'm going to release. And that's all you have to do. The events are already collected. The functions already exist in the libraries, so you can really simplify your code. You can simplify development, um, and yeah, you can capture and do all kinds of stuff. So, and that's pretty much what we did. So we dropped it on here. There's the folder that's built. And if you go over to this configuration file right here, that's going to be released in the package. And here you can see where it's got app path, or where it's got app path. If you put whatever your mod path is, because this is where I thought it was going to go, but then I realized that's for programs launched. It's for when that program is launched from this folder, but it's actually being launched in a development folder, and the variables are different. So this is where it'll put it. That's what this kind of stuff is for. It's to centralize things. So if you change this to wherever you want your extracted mods to go, that's where they'll go. Um, and that's what I'm gonna put here. I'm gonna go back into this and I'm gonna change this so that this is no longer hard coded. But that's all there is to it. All the applications usually have an initial startup. That's where they start. You call that. That should set everything up, and you're ready to go. So this way, you can just drag and drop. You can literally just drag and drop uh, whichever ones that you want onto the application. It'll automatically extract it for you, so it doesn't have to already be pre-extracted. And that's pretty much it. Um, it runs on a thread, so if it's a very, very large, like some mods are very large, it'll extract in the background, and you can still go through and do things. I don't know what exactly um, you could do, to be honest. Because this is kind of a very, very dedicated application, so you're waiting for a mod to unpack so you can actually FOMOD it. And it does have the build folder code in. It's not really, it's just a call to the library that if it's not a full mod, it tries to build it based on what whoever created that mod, however they set it up. That code again is very basic. It's just something that I can use when I'm modding Skyrim. It has to be tweaked. There's other tweaks because it doesn't handle all situations, so it won't build a folder correctly in every situation. And when that's not the full mod side, that's just the build data folder side. Because somebody may have an archive file that just simply has an ESP in it. So I know it's an ESP because all that's configured in the game's configuration file. I specify that. That's loaded by the game's library. So when you open the game, all that's available programmatically to use. So I know it's that, and then I can just simply move it to whatever, wherever it goes, which generally is data. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show everyone. I'm gonna go back and clean that up because I want that to be part of the release code. But that's how you do it. It's really not that complicated. I tried to simplify it so that I tried to do as much as possible so that whoever might use it, everything's canned. It's what they call canned. It's kinda done, it's said and done, and all you have to do is just call the function and then let it do its thing, which is what it is. So what you could do, because these are all, you can leave this up and running and you can do these one at a time. You literally can just grab the next one and drop it, it'll extract it, and then it pops this up. So everyone is processed independently because of this right here. This initial startup is what sets folder names, file names. Uh, it's what scans the FOMOD for steps, and that way, that's where you see the index here. That's how you get this. It does all of that. It clears any variables that might exist. So, like for example, if you're going to take this option here, there is a condition flag that's set if you took that option, and that's what the FOMOD uses when they're doing what they call patterns. It's just what they call it's, who the designer, when he developed it, called it patterns. So he figured I can use patterns for files, I can use patterns for flags, and it basically just says, did you select this option? Do you have this file? If so, let me go ahead and install this part of the phone mod. That's really all it does. Okay. I don't want this to go on too much longer, because I want to keep it kind of short. But I think I gave quite a bit, enough. Hopefully, I did my job, and I gave enough information on how to do, how to mod this. Now the next step we'll do, I won't do this today. I've got to do some coding, but the next step is we're going to install this. It's already installed in my game, but I'm going to show you how to access the install functions. So that way, this FOMOD utility is 100% standalone. You can either it's completely extensible. You can pass the name of an archive file like Zazay's thing, you can pass that to it. Um, you can do it like this, where you drag and drop. You can call it programmatically. And that's true of almost any application. I just wanted to set this up because, like I mentioned earlier, I like things to be utilitarian. I like things to literally have many, many different uses, even though it's one specific thing. It's my creative bug, it kicks in. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. That shows you how to do that, and that code is in there. It shows you how uh, events are really handled in the library, and they're queued, and then all you got to do is just go in that queue and process those events. And if you don't process the events, they're just dropped off the map. All right, guys. Hope you're having a great morning. I've just got my pot brewed, so I've got well, I'm definitely I'm running cold right now, so I'm gonna have to tank up a little bit and then see what kind of coding coding shenanigans I can I can get into. All right, hope everybody has a good one.